Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Mindful Morning. What would happen if a miracle could solve your problem? I was working with a client a couple years ago who this woman was in a really difficult work situation. She was doing sales and she was very unhappy in her job. And, the culture of the work environment was really weighing her down. Her boss, she felt very undermined by her boss. The people at work just didn't seem to care, didn't always do what they needed to do in their jobs. And it just led to this very frustrating dynamic, a really emotionally draining daily work kind of situation. And so she came to coaching looking for a way to navigate all of this and find some sort of solution. Um, and so we started working in coaching to kind of look at what was possible. And every time she would come up with a possible solution or way of dealing with it was always followed by "yeah, but." And I think this kind of "yeah, but" sort of thing is something that we all get into. But it really does just kind of perpetuate the problem itself. So in our coaching conversations, I really didn't feel like we were getting anywhere because of this "yeah, but" kind of approach. And so I offered that to her as an observation and, said to her, if your coaching objective is to solve this problem or to at least get one step closer to solving the problem by the end of each session, then I really don't think this kind of approach is a workable strategy for us. Because the other thing about "yeah, but" is that it's really just pointing the finger at all of the things in the situation that are outside of your control. And when you do that, it's like you are walling yourself in with the problem itself. So I asked her if she could just suspend the "yeah, but" kind of approach for a little while, and take a more "what's possible" approach uh, to dealing with this situation. And one of the a question that is really useful sometimes when you get bogged down by problems is, if a miracle happened and tomorrow morning I woke up and the problem was gone, how would I know the problem was solved? What would look different about my life? What would I be doing differently? What would I do more of or less of? How would I be relating to the people around me? If I was looking at this on a video camera, what would I be able to see? What evidence would show me that the problem was gone? And in going through this question with her, she started to paint this very beautiful picture of all these other areas of her life that she had been neglecting because she was so caught up in dealing with this problem. And the thing about trying to change a situation is that there are three ways you can really approach that. You can either uh, change the way you relate to the problem itself, change what you do in the situation. You can change your perception of the problem, or you can start to call on resources, personal strengths, and strategies to help you deal with the obstacles. So when we got into a "what's possible" kind of approach, we were able to list out all of the obstacles that she was facing and start to come up with creative strategies for dealing with each one. So the first obstacle that she had was the fact that, she had tried to talk to her boss, she had tried to talk to the other people at work, she had tried to change those dynamics, and nothing was really working. There was nothing she was going to be able to do to change the work situation. Uh, and so the problem was that she was keeping herself in limbo because she didn't know if she wanted to stay or go. And she really just needed to make a decision. And since nothing was going to change, she either had to accept the work situation as it was and change her perception of how she related to work, or she had to start to put together an exit strategy. Once she was able to just make that concrete choice and she decided she wanted to leave, she was able to, have that strategy be, how do I take the steps to actually do that? But the next problem that she had, or next obstacle that she had, was the fact that she couldn't just get up and leave, right? She was the breadwinner. She had a lot of financial obligations put on her. And so she needed a strategy to deal with those financial pressures. So the strategy was that she would bring her partner into the equation and really just sit down with him and open up about what she was going through, not in a blaming or complaining kind of a way, but just to call on her partner um, to help her figure out a creative strategy for the financial part of that. So, he was able to help out a little bit more with the financials, but it was nothing massive. He himself was not in a situation to, take on all of the financial pressures himself. But they did sit down. They looked at their, financial situation. Where are we spending money? They kind of got a little bit creative about how they were dealing with those things. But the main thing that did by bringing him in the conversation was it allowed him to have some more empathy and to be more emotionally available to her while she was going through all of this. Simply because she opened up. It changed the dynamics of their relationship and gave her an outlet outside of work, someone she could lean on for some extra support. But the main obstacle that she was facing really was the fact that there was not much she could do besides working towards an exit strategy in terms of there was a lot of this that was out of her control. And so the frustration of being in a situation that felt so outside of her control was the obstacle itself. She needed a strategy for dealing with things outside of her control. So the strategy that she came up with was to recognize when she was at work and she was feeling frustrated or angry or stressed out, and to just ask herself, what can I do about this situation right now? Is there anything I can do? And most of the time, there wasn't much. It was outside of her control. And because of that, instead of getting into a fight with herself and struggling with her own frustration, the strategy was to open up and to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm angry. This sucks. And to make some room for that, and then to ask herself, how do I take care of myself when I'm feeling this way? And when she painted that beautiful picture of her whole life in the miracle question that I had asked her, she it really exposed the kind of importance she placed on her family, her relationships, and her health. And so the strategy for dealing with things outside of her control was to call on those things, to deal with stress by going for a walk, making herself do that, or going to the gym, shifting her priorities away from so focused on the problems of work to spending time with her family and leaning on them for support. And by letting go of what was out of her control and taking care of herself in the best way she could, you know, situations in life, they inevitably change. Life is always changing. It just doesn't always happen as fast as we might like it to. Um, so in making this shift, she, 3 months down the road, I think it was, she eventually was able to leave her job, but she left her job in a much happier, more satisfied and healthy kind of place, just because she looked at the obstacles and decided to shift from a yeah, but kind of thing, which was just keeping her stuck, contributing to the problem, walling herself in, to a what's possible and what is in my control. What can I actually do to deal with these obstacles? So I just offer that to you. If you're going through a problem right now and you realize that you may be adding to the stress and the problems of the situation just in the way that you are approaching it, I'm going to put in the Mindful Morning Toolbox like some of these questions that her and I went through with that miracle question and coming up with different strategies so that if you're going through a problem right now and you just need another perspective of looking at it, you can walk yourself through these steps and see what that shifts for you. If you're not opted into the toolbox and you want to go through that worksheet, you can follow the link here and it's free, the toolbox. I keep all of the actionable resources, exercises, cheat sheets for all of the Mindful Morning episodes. So whichever ones relate to you in your life right now, you can work through them and take this from an idea and turn it into action. So I hope you all have a great day. If you got something out of this, then please leave me a comment or write a review, share this with other people. You never know who's dealing with a really challenging situation and might need to hear this message today. Okay, I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.